What we've got today is our straight to sensor kit for a Ford Raptor V6 twin turbo, the next gen model. When you receive your kit, you're going to open it up and these are the components that you're going to find inside the box. So you're going to have the Uni-X and the Scent module on the Ranger Raptor specific bracket, a throttle harness, the straight to sensor Uni-X harness, a little Ziploc bag that contains some dielectric grease and mounting hardware, and another Ziploc bag that contains some Allen keys, some mounting screws for the lid onto the Unichip and the bridge plug. Some basic tools you'll need before we go in the workshop, and I'll show you exactly what they are, but you'll need a 7mm socket, an 8mm socket, 10mm socket, a flat screwdriver, and that's about it, actually.
That's it?
That's it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do once you've got the bonnet open is disconnect the negative side of your battery, which is the one closest to the outside of the car. It's a 10mm nut sitting on top of the clamp here. You back the nut off, that loosens the clamp and you can lift the battery terminal off the battery post. Just to rest a rag between the terminal and the battery post so that you can't have accidental contact. The next step after doing this, we're going to remove that crossover pipe. It makes our life a lot easier for a matter of 2 minutes work. I'll point at the components that you need to undo in order to remove this crossover pipe. So there's an 8mm headed bolt here that clamps it down. There's a hose clamp here to the airbox. There's a hose clamp on the opposite side. And then there's 2 plastic pipes going in the front here. Is the blow-off valve return. Back off the hose clamps. One there, one here. Using an 8mm socket or a spanner, you will undo this bolt here. 3 clips are a little bit fiddly, but just take your time with them. This larger white one here, you push on the large body, the large amount of white clip that you can see, push the pipe in, push that white in, and then pull the pipe back slowly. Careful not to force it too hard. You can break these. It's exactly the same principle for the yellow one. The yellow one, the tab is underneath. So pipe in, push on the yellow. You can see that the retainers are opening up, and then just pull that one back. Last one here is the blow-off valve one. See the serrated, there's a serrated edge tab on both sides. Push those 2 serrated edges in, it opens up the pipe mount, and then just wobble that one off as well. From here, we're going to remove the crossover pipe. Okay, once we get to this point here, it's a good idea to familiarise yourself with the sensors that we'll be unplugging and replugging in. All right, so what you need to do is familiarise yourself with the sensors. So there is a boost pressure sensor, a map sensor, and a crank angle sensor. Pipe here, that's the boost sensor. The one underneath this steel bracket here is the map sensor. Doing the crank sensor. So the crank sensor is down here. It's essentially on the back of the engine on the driver's side next to the turbo dump pipe. Undo these sensors, it's pretty straightforward. There's a little white locking tab. You can get it with your fingernail or just use a small screwdriver to push them back, squeeze the plug together and pull it out. Same for all 3 sensors. Now, this sensor here does sit underneath a steel bracket that holds the heater pipe on. It's quite easy to just undo this one 10mm bolt, move that out of the way, and then you can lift that up slightly. It gives you better access to that plug. And then I'm going to reach down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to unplug it.
Oh.
Cool. This is a good time to mount up the Unichip. It's already on the bracket, but it'll give you an idea of where and how the harness should be mounted as we follow the factory engine harness. Okay, so these have got a factory earth point here. Using your 8mm socket, undo that. Okay. This has got an extra auxiliary ground. Most cars won't have that there. This is very important that this stays in place and goes back. It has got a little locating tab on there to make sure that it does lock into place. Okay, using the 8mm bolt, the 8mm headed bolt that you just removed, there is already a nut cert here. Only the first couple of threads have been cut. So what I do is I put it in a few turns and then I use my ratchet to essentially cut the thread all the way to the bottom of the nut cert. It does get a little bit firm, it's supposed to, that's normal. Once you can see that the bolt has come through the bottom of the nut cert like that, then take the bolt back out and you've got the 2 threads that we need in order to mount the Unichip. Packet of hardware that you were given, you can see that there's 2 bolts, a set of washers and a nut. Okay, take the Unichip that's already on the bracket. This here will be loose, we'll get to that one shortly, but sit the Unichip on top of where we just removed that 8mm headed bolt, and you can see the 2 bolt holes line up with the factory bolt holes. Use the hardware supplied to fit this. Okay, just do those finger tight for now, don't tighten them right up. Applied an M6 serrated nut, and you'll see that there is a bolt that goes through the sill here, through the inner guard, and there's a length of thread sticking out of the bottom of the guard. This bracket swings around, locates on that thread of that bolt, and the nut will lock it into place. Okay, this is a little bit fidgety, so just make sure you get yourself in a good position to get it on. Using the 10mm sockets that you've already got, tighten up all 3 of those, that hardware. Once you've got those 3 tight, you can now tighten up the nut and bolt that hold everything to the bracket. Okay, so this is a good time now to plug in your Unichip. Now it's already got a pre-installed tune on it to make your Raptor go much faster than it currently already does. What we're going to do is, in this sachet, it's called dielectric grease, and it's designed to reduce corrosion as well as protect the terminals from any sort of water ingress and things like that. So tear it open so you've got a little funnel of grease coming through, and we're just going to put that on all of the plugs on the Unichip. So what we're going to do now, there's 3 plugs of the Unichip. Unless you've optioned our optional map select switch, this is a plug that you can ignore. It has map select written on it. This is if you've chosen to go with our 5-way map select switch, 5 individual tunes. You're going to see 3 plugs, 1 large white, 2 black plugs. These 2 are different sizes. You can't mix them up. One's 24 pin, one's 22 pin. The most important thing of this install is installing these plugs squarely. So be careful, don't install them on an angle, don't install them facing down or facing up. Nice and square to the plug. You'll feel the terminals engage, and it's just a matter of pushing it in until it clicks. For the black one, okay, so you can see there, it's found the right location for the plug, and all you're going to do, make sure it's square. You'll feel when there's a bit of resistance, and then just push it in so it's nice and flat. Next thing you're going to do is, in the bag that you were provided with the bridge plug and some information there, you'll notice that there is an Allen key and some small self-tapping screws. You'll need 2 self-tapping screws and that Allen key. There's a self-tapping screw on each side of the lid, and you're just going to put the screw in while holding the lid firm and tighten up the Allen key until they bottom out. If you do these up, you'll feel it go firm when it's locked. It's important not to over tighten these, so I don't recommend using a ratchet or anything like that, just hand strength, and when you can see that there's no gap between the lid and the body of the Unichip, that's tight enough. But basically what's going to happen is we're going to run the Unichip harness in line with this large factory harness here, going under some of the pipe work that we undid earlier. You'll also notice that close up towards the Unichip here, there is a single red wire that says BAT 12 volts on it. So obviously that's going to be battery 12 volt. If you lift the lid to your battery here on the positive side of the terminal, you'll notice that on the inside there is a spare post. You're going to put that terminal on that post and use the supplied M6 nut to tighten that up. This is going to be the route for our Unichip harness. You can see here we have got the boost sensor, which is the one at the front. So what we've done, we've unplugged the boost sensor. It's a matter of plugging the male side of the harness into the sensor, pushing in the locking tab, and the opposite. Tie anything yet until we've got all the sensors in. It makes everything a little bit easier. Now we're looking for the map sensor, which is this one here. If you're confused between the boost and the map sensor, a really easy way to ensure that you don't get mixed up is the boost sensor is a 3-wire sensor and the map sensor is a 4-wire sensor. They're completely different plugs, so you can't mix it up. Make sure you push them in until they're home. They will click, and if they're not home, you won't be able to get that locking tab into place. So if that's not going home, then the plug's not seated completely. This is the female side of the same map sensor plug that we just plugged into the sensor. All right guys, so now we're doing the crank sensor. So the crank sensor is down here. It's essentially on the back of the engine on the driver's side next to the turbo dump pipe. The easiest way to identify it is it has this round protective foil barrier on a foil harness. Now the Unichip harness is in a heat protection sleeve as well. So once you've got it unplugged, plug the new Unichip harness in. Again, a positive click means it's in place. And the opposite side of that is going to plug into the crank sensor, factory crank sensor harness here. That's it. Now we'll zip tie it out the way. Sensor in, make sure that it stays out of the way of this bracket, but you can now put that bolt back in that holds the heater pipes. Now that the harness is completely installed, we're just going to add a few zip ties just to hold it neatly in place. Okay, so now we're up to the part where we're going to get into the throttle, which means we have to go through a grommet in the firewall. This part is a little bit tricky, but take your time, have a bit of patience. Now, the throttle harness is this long harness here. It operates exactly the same way as what I've shown you with the other sensors, where we're going to unplug the throttle harness, plug it into the throttle itself, the throttle pedal itself, and then grab the throttle pedal plug and plug it into our Unichip harness. It has a small pre-terminated white plug on this end here. This plug is going to come through the firewall from the inside out through a grommet that I'm about to show you that I use. It runs across the harness along the firewall there and will then plug into this white throttle plug here. A lot of people have different ways of getting wire through firewalls. I traditionally go for a grommet spike like this, where it's got a hollow tube down the middle of it. When you're going through any grommet on any firewall, always just check for a feeling of resistance. If you're hitting something that feels like you can't push through it, there's a good chance you are. So make sure that the progress through the grommet, through the firewall is really smooth, because I have heard horror stories of people cutting into harnesses and ending up with a whole heap of issues as a result of trying to pass things through the firewall, and that's the last thing you want. So path of least resistance is your best path. Okay, from there, I run a piece of, this is just copper TIG wire through the firewall. I tape right down the harness and right up the copper, so I'm not putting too much load just on the plug itself. Create a bit of a taper at the plug as well. You'll notice that the plug's very square and a bit blocky. If you create a taper, it just helps that progression through the grommet a little bit easier. Firm pull through and it comes through, and you now got your throttle harness inside the engine bay where it needs to be. Okay, so like all the other sensors, this has got a little locking tab on it. I'll try and keep the light there so you can see. I've pushed that red locking tab up. Now I'm going to push the retainer in, the retaining clip in, and lift that plug off. The Unichip harness is going to plug directly into the throttle pedal. Again, so it clips. Once it's clipped, same thing, lock the retaining tab down, and then our harness is going to plug into what was the throttle harness. So you can see the amount of tape that I use when I spoke about taping really far down whatever you're using to pull it through, and then really far on the harness as well, so that there's not too much load just on the plug. Comes out through the firewall, follow the main harness along the firewall, zip tie it along there so it stays out of the way. You'll end up with a bit of excess, loop it back on itself and zip tie it to the engine harness here. And then we're ready to put the crossover pipe back on. So get that crossover pipe sitting properly on both ends where it goes onto the joiners. You can start putting your pipes back on. Everything will clip into place. If it doesn't clip, it's not in properly. Okay, once you've got your crossover pipe back on, just give everything a once over, make sure everything is cable tied out of the way, because you're coming to the end of the job. You want to make sure that no wiring is going to rub on anything, get caught on anything. It's not too close to a heat source. Make sure that you've got your throttle pedal plugged in. Any sensors that you've got currently unplugged, when you reconnect the battery, it will log an engine light and a code. It's the last thing that you want, especially if you don't have a scan tool to clear it. So move the rag out of the way, negative battery terminal back on, and we are good to go.